What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another Madden 17 online game. You know, the fact that the Steelers fans wave a thing called the terrible towel out of pride, it's kind of weird when you think about it, because the Steelers have the most Super Bowl wins of any franchise, and in the 2000s have been one of the most consistently dominant franchises in the league. They have 2 Super Bowl wins in the Ben Roethlisberger era, and they're still one of the top teams in the AFC. Last year, they proved it by making it all the way to the AFC Championship game. It looked like they finally had their big 3 healthy to try to make a run in the Super Bowl of Big Ben, Antonio Brown, and Le'Veon Bell, the Killer Bees. And then Le'Veon gets hurt in the championship game. The defense gets torched up by Tom Brady anyways, and they lose. Last year, it felt like, the Steelers defense was young, and they might have not been prepared for Tom Brady even if they had Le'Veon Bell, but we'll never know what happened. So the Steelers are looking to re-gear this season, recoup, and try to figure out what it takes to beat those New England Patriots, who have made a lot of improvements this season, by the way, and have Tom Brady still. The Steelers still have Ben Roethlisberger, which was in a little bit of doubt because Ben's kind of been hinting that he might not play football as long as Tom Brady has been playing, because he's thinking about concussion history and his injury histories and all that. And he had some pretty deep quotes the other day talking about how he wanted to be around for his kids and stuff like that. So, I mean, Ben's around this season, so that's the big thing. Le'Veon Bell's around this season, and Antonio Brown's around this season. The offensive line is still one of the best units in the NFL, with Foster, with the Castro, with Pouncey, with Marcus Gilbert, and Villanueva. So this is going to be one of the better offenses in the NFL. And by the way, Martavis Bryant should be back, I'm pretty sure, this season. I don't think he has any more upcoming suspensions, so Martavis Bryant should be available for the entire NFL season this year. So the Steelers offense is going to be one of the best in the NFL this season, okay? Unless some random injuries bring them down. Le'Veon Bell is a freak. Like, we all know Le'Veon Bell's running style, how unique it is, and the offensive line that he has helps, provide the ability to be able to be patient and wait for those holes to open up. And then, of course, Antonio Brown is Antonio Brown. He and Julio Jones right now are the 2 best receivers in the NFL. And then Ben, Ben's not like the top quarterback in the NFL, but Ben Roethlisberger is a proven quarterback. He's a Super Bowl champion, and it feels like he's gotten better as his career's gone on. Before, it used to be about the Steelers' defense. Now, Ben Roethlisberger and an offense are the show, and the defense, they're the question marks of this team. So, the one thing about the Steelers is that they drafted a guy named James Conner, and it really should have not been that big of a deal. He's a 3rd-round pick, running back. But, being a local guy from Pittsburgh, for some reason, he's leading the NFL in jersey sales. And apparently, he's looking pretty good in training camp. I've seen stories about how James Conner is impressing a lot of Steelers, so Le'Veon Bell and James Conner could be something that we see. So the one thing that the Steelers offense could definitely work on this year, they got a lot of depth at the wide receiver spot. Tight end spot, not so much. Jesse James is probably going to be the starter, so I don't know how that's going to work out. The Ladarius Green experiment definitely failed last year. But the one that they can definitely cut out is turnovers. Definitely some, a little bit less turnovers from Big Ben would be preferable, but the wide receiver depth that they have is ridiculous. They have Eli Rogers coming back. Rogers has another year under his belt. We'll see what happens. They drafted Juju Smith-Schuster. I think I got his name right at UFC. And I always liked when Gus Johnson would say his name when he was calling USC games last year, like Juju Smith-Schuster or something like that. I don't know. I can't do it myself, but I mean, he might not be that bad of a wide receiver. You just got to find out when the hell those guys are going to get playing time, because Rodgers and Smith are going to be battling for like the 4 or 5 spots in the depth chart right now. So, I mean, if Martavis Bryant gets suspended again, they got someone to follow up. The Steelers are always good at drafting wide receivers. But like I said, the story is the defensive side of football. That is the side that really needs to take a step forward if they want to beat the New England Patriots. That secondary, they can get by against some not-so-great teams and okay teams, but against the elite teams, against Tom Brady, that's not a secondary that's gonna win you a Super Bowl. So it's not gonna get you out the AFC. So that's got to step up. The pass rush was pretty good last season. We'll see if they can bring some extra force, because last year Bud Dupree missed a lot of the year, and last year they didn't have TJ Watt, their 1st-round pick this year, and we'll see if TJ Watt can provide some pass rush, the brother of JJ Watt. So that's always cool to have the brother of JJ Watt, because if he's anything like JJ Watt, he should be an absolute monster. But as long as he's, TJ Watt from Wisconsin, he might be pretty good for the Steelers. The Steelers have been spending a lot of high draft picks on defensive players. They got Dupree a couple years ago. They got Shazier in the 2014 draft, along with Steven Tuitt is in the 2nd-round pick in the 2014 draft, and Tuitt has been pretty good for the Steelers so far. Shazier has that superstar potential. He's slowly but surely getting there. He's slowly taking steps forward, and it's good to see Shazier progressing positively, because that means that he can take another step this year. And last year, there were games where he really stood out. As long as he could put those games together consistently, that would be big for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They still have James Harrison around, and I mean, as much as it's like, yeah, James Harrison's like 40 years old. The dude, he's like a freak. Like, James Harrison is a freak of nature. I mean, if you guys ever see the videos of him working out, like, that dude's strength is unbelievable. And he's up there in age, but he still gets at it. He's still relentless. He still puts his head down and gets after the quarterback. He is still a menace. He's not a guy that tackles want to go against. So, if he can provide something inside, I think their run defense can definitely improve this season. They got Tuitt, they got Jerome Hargraves, if he could be a little bit better. And then having they have Hayward come back for the season, because Hayward got injured midway through last season. They could have him for the whole season. That could definitely not only bolster their pass rush, but bolster up their run defense a little bit too. So, we'll see how that works out for them. The secondary is really where a lot of questions are for this Steelers team. And they spent a lot of last year's draft trying to, and even the 2015 draft, trying to fix this problem. The 15 draft, they got a Golston. And last year's draft, they got Artie Burns first round, and then Sean Davis in the second round. They moved Sean Davis to safety, and that didn't really work out too well. And they got Mike Mitchell at the free safety spot, but it's about who's starting next to Mike Mitchell. It's a huge question mark. If it's Sean Davis, that's probably the preferred guy they want to see step up, how well is he going to do? Can he provide something for this team? And then their cornerbacks, you definitely want Artie Burns to take that next step. He definitely had solid games last year, and I don't know if he's going to be, the shutdown cornerback like the next Ike Taylor in Pittsburgh, but I mean, Artie Burns didn't look bad last year. He definitely didn't look like a bust by any means. So to have him around, Ross Cockrell, I always thought I always thought he was a solid cornerback. I think when we did last year's preview, we only did 8 teams last year. We did do the AFC North, and we did the Steelers. I remember saying Cockrell was like an underratedly pretty good cornerback, and he still is that kind of guy. And then William Gay, just a veteran. He does a little bit of everything for the Steelers, point coverage, stopping the rush, getting after the quarterback, coming in for some nickel blitzes. So he's still around there. So they got a couple of guys that they could throw around, but they have to take a step. Those young guys really got to step up. Someone's got to be that guy. Artie Burns, whether it's Golston, if he gets some playing time this year, Sean Davis, and then they got another Golston, Robert Golden, that's who it is in their secondary. Someone's got to do it if they're going to beat the Patriots. Now, I think the Steelers are going to do well next season. I think that they could get like an 11-5 or 12-4 record and fight for a number 2 seed in the AFC. Like, try to get that first round bye. Maybe a number 1 seed. We'll see what happens. But I think the Steelers are definitely good enough to fight for that number 2 seed in the AFC and, get that first round bye, because, they do have a pretty lax schedule looking at it on paper. They play the AFC North and the AFC South and the NFC North, so that could provide some big-time wins for them. And then on top of that, they could beat up on their own division a little bit. We'll see what happens with those AFC North games. Always some tough games when you talk about Cincinnati versus Pittsburgh, and, of course, the Ravens versus the Steelers. Probably the best rivalry in the NFL. Still, it's been the best rivalry for a long time now, and probably still might be the best rivalry in the NFL as far as division rivalries. So that pretty much wraps it up for the Steelers. This game, my opponent was raging like crazy this game. I don't know if you guys heard that in the background. He was very upset about what was going on. But, I don't know. He just could not stop Le'Veon Bell. Leave a like in the video if you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe for more. Steelers fans, let me know why you wave terrible towels and why we don't get a name change on that thing. Let me know what you guys think about the Steelers this season. If you guys think you guys can make a return to the Super Bowl this year. If this is you guys' year, or this might not be the year for the Steelers. Let me know why you guys think that is it. If you guys don't think they'll even make the playoffs, think someone else wins the division, let me know what you guys think about that. And on that note, I'll catch you guys next time.